very intelligent and observant. They notice details most men overlook. Not just how a man looks, but how he moves, how he reacts, and how he carries himself when nothing is being said. Long before words are exchanged, women sense emotional stability, inner discipline, and quiet confidence. Older men who have lived through loss, failure, pressure, and responsibility develop a presence that cannot be imitated. It is not loud, it is not rushed, it does not seek attention, and yet, it is immediately felt. This presence comes from self-mastery, not from age alone. In this video, we are going to explore the things women notice first in older men, through the lens of Stoicism. This is not about manipulation, dating tricks, or pretending to be someone you are not. It is about becoming solid from within, so your presence speaks before you do. Stay with this video until the end, because the final insight is the one most men never learn, even after decades of living. If you value calm strength, discipline, and inner power, subscribe to this channel, The Inner Fortress. Like this video and share. 1. Emotional control and inner stillness. Emotional control is the first signal women notice in older men, often before appearance, wealth, or status. Women are highly sensitive to emotional fluctuations because emotional instability creates uncertainty. A man who reacts to everything communicates that his inner world is chaotic. A man who remains steady under pressure communicates mastery. Stoicism teaches that emotions are natural, but obedience to them is optional. Women feel safe around men who understand this difference. Inner stillness does not mean silence or coldness. It means a man does not let emotions hijack his judgment. He does not raise his voice to be heard. He does not use anger to establish authority. His calm presence sets the tone of the interaction. When tension appears, he does not rush to defend his ego. He pauses, observes, and responds deliberately. Women recognize this immediately because it is rare. Older men who lack emotional control often carry unresolved bitterness. Their reactions are sharp. Their patience is thin. Their moods shift quickly. Women notice this and instinctively create distance. Emotional unpredictability signals risk. On the other hand, emotional discipline signals reliability. It tells her this man has faced hardship without becoming hostile or unstable. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of governing the inner world before attempting to influence the outer one. A man who has done this work no longer seeks emotional validation from others. He does not depend on approval to regulate his mood. This independence is deeply attractive. Women sense that his calm is not performative. It is earned through experience, loss, and reflection. Emotional stillness also shows in how a man handles disagreement. He listens fully without interrupting. He does not turn conversations into battles. He does not punish others with silence or sarcasm. He communicates without emotional excess. This ability signals maturity. It shows that he values understanding over dominance. Women notice how a man handles stress because stress reveals character. Anyone can appear calm when life is easy. But older men who have endured difficulty without losing themselves move with quiet confidence. Their emotional control is not rigidity. It is flexibility anchored in discipline. In Stoic philosophy, the man who masters his emotions becomes free. Women are drawn to this freedom because it creates stability, clarity, and trust. Emotional control is not something you announce. It is something others feel when they are around you. 2. Self-respect without arrogance. Self-respect is immediately visible, even when unspoken. Women notice it in posture, boundaries, tone, and decision-making. A man who respects himself does not overextend to be liked. He does not sacrifice his dignity to maintain access. He does not tolerate disrespect in exchange for attention. Stoicism teaches that self-worth comes from alignment with virtue, not from external validation. Older men who lack self-respect often overcompensate. They seek admiration loudly. They accept poor treatment quietly. They confuse attention with respect. Women recognize this imbalance quickly. It creates discomfort because a man who does not respect himself cannot offer stability to others. Self-respect shows in how a man handles rejection. He does not argue with it, he does not resent it, he does not internalize it as failure. He accepts it calmly and moves forward. This reaction signals strength. Women observe this closely because it reflects emotional maturity and inner security. Boundaries are a major expression of self-respect. A man with boundaries knows what he will and will not accept. He does not announce them aggressively. He enforces them calmly. Women trust men who can say no without hostility and yes without hesitation. Stoicism teaches that a man must be sovereign over his choices. This sovereignty shows when he does not compromise values for convenience. He does not change character to maintain approval. His consistency builds trust because his behavior is predictable in the best sense. Self-respect also appears in responsibility. A man who respects himself takes ownership of his life. He does not blame others for his position. He does not externalize failure. He learns, adjusts, and continues. Women notice this accountability because it signals reliability and leadership. A self-respecting man does not rush intimacy. He does not force closeness. He allows connection to develop naturally. This patience is rooted in confidence, not fear. Women feel this difference immediately. Self-respect is quiet power. It is not displayed, it is lived. Women notice it because it creates clarity, structure, and emotional safety. 3. Purpose that does not seek approval. Purpose is one of the strongest signals of masculine stability. Women notice when a man's life has direction, not chaotic ambition, but steady intention. Stoicism teaches that a meaningful life is built around principles, not applause. A man who lives this way does not drift. He moves deliberately. Older men with purpose do not chase attention. They are invested in something larger than momentary validation. Their days have structure. Their decisions are intentional. Women sense this grounding immediately because it contrasts sharply with men who are reactive and scattered. Purpose also shapes how a man interacts with others. He does not seek to impress. He seeks alignment. He listens deeply because he is not trying to sell himself. He is present because he is not desperate for approval. This presence creates attraction because it signals self-sufficiency. Men without purpose often seek stimulation. They fill emptiness with noise, drama, or constant pursuit. Women notice this instability. It creates uncertainty. Purpose, on the other hand, creates calm. It allows a man to move at his own pace without anxiety. Stoicism emphasizes living according to reason. A man guided by reason does not rush decisions. He weighs consequences. He understands long-term impact. Women trust men who think beyond immediate gratification. Purpose also brings patience. A man who knows where he is going does not rush relationships. He allows trust to build naturally. He does not force outcomes. This patience communicates confidence in the future. Women notice how a man speaks about his work, his values, and his goals. Purposeful men speak with clarity, not exaggeration. They do not need to embellish their lives. Their commitment speaks for itself. A man with purpose does not seek permission to exist. He does not bend to trends. He stands firm in his principles. Women sense this strength instinctively. Purpose gives a man gravity. It anchors his identity. And women are drawn to men who are anchored, not drifting. 4. Calm confidence without performance. Women quickly distinguish between confidence that is real and confidence that is performed. Performed confidence is loud, restless, and attention-seeking. Calm confidence is quiet, grounded, and does not ask to be noticed. Older men who possess this kind of confidence do not feel pressure to compete, impress, or dominate. Their sense of self is settled. Stoicism teaches that confidence comes from self-knowledge, not comparison. A man who understands his strengths and limitations no longer needs to exaggerate. He speaks plainly. He listens without impatience. He is comfortable not being the center of attention. Women sense this immediately because it creates emotional ease in interaction. Calm confidence shows in body language. The man is relaxed but alert. He does not fidget. He does not rush his words. His movements are deliberate. This signals internal order. Women instinctively trust men whose inner world appears organized rather than frantic. Men who lack this confidence often overperform. They talk too much. They interrupt. They seek validation through stories, status, or humor. Women notice this insecurity beneath the surface. It creates doubt rather than attraction. A Stoic man understands that he does not need to prove himself to be valuable. His confidence is rooted in character and lived experience. He has faced failure without collapsing and success without becoming arrogant. This balance creates a steady presence that women find grounding. Calm confidence also shows in disagreement. The man does not become defensive. He does not raise his voice to assert dominance. He remains composed and firm. Women notice this because emotional steadiness under challenge signals strength. True confidence allows a man to be himself without apology. He does not shrink to be liked, and he does not expand to intimidate. He simply stands as he is. This authenticity is rare, and women recognize it immediately. 5. How he treats others when nothing is at stake. Women observe how a man behaves when there is no advantage to be gained. This is one of the clearest indicators of character. When no reward is present, behavior becomes honest. Stoicism places great importance on justice and humanity, regardless of circumstance. A man who treats people with respect when there is nothing to gain demonstrates internal discipline. He does not perform kindness for praise. He does not display cruelty to feel superior. His behavior remains consistent across situations. Women notice this consistency because it signals reliability. How a man handles minor inconveniences reveals much about him. Delays, mistakes, or simple frustrations expose emotional habits. A man who remains composed shows that his calm is not conditional. Women trust men whose behavior does not collapse under small pressures. Older men with maturity understand that power is not proven by dominance over others. It is proven by restraint. Stoicism teaches that true strength is self-control. Women are drawn to men who do not need to belittle others to feel important. This includes how a man treats service workers, strangers, and those beneath him socially. Disrespect in these moments signals insecurity. Respect signals inner order. Women instinctively distance themselves from men who display cruelty or arrogance when they believe no one important is watching. Before we continue, if this message resonates with you and you value inner strength, subscribe to this channel, The Inner Fortress. Like this video and share it with a man who is serious about self-mastery. A man's treatment of others is not about morality alone. It is about predictability. Women feel safer around men whose character does not shift with circumstance. Respect without performance reveals a disciplined inner life, and women notice it immediately. 6. His relationship with time and patience. A man's relationship with time reveals his inner state. Women notice whether a man is rushed, anxious, or at ease. Older men who have developed patience move differently. They do not hurry conversations. They do not force outcomes. They are comfortable allowing things to unfold naturally. Stoicism teaches acceptance of time and impermanence. A man who understands this does not panic over delays or uncertainty. He plans, but he does not obsess. This calm approach signals emotional maturity. Women feel grounded around men who are not constantly chasing the next moment. Impatience often comes from fear. Fear of missing out, fear of losing control, fear of not being enough. Women sense this underlying anxiety quickly. It creates instability. Patience, on the other hand, communicates confidence in oneself and in the future. A patient man does not rush intimacy. He allows trust to grow at a natural pace. He understands that meaningful connections cannot be forced. Women appreciate this restraint because it shows respect for emotional boundaries. Time awareness also shows in discipline. A man who values time does not waste it carelessly. His life has rhythm and structure. He balances work, rest, and reflection. This balance communicates self-respect and long-term thinking. Stoic men understand that time will reveal truth. They do not demand immediate results. They remain steady through uncertainty. Women notice this steadiness because it contrasts sharply with emotional impulsiveness. Patience is not passivity. It is controlled action. A man who respects time acts when necessary and waits when appropriate. This judgment signals wisdom. Women trust men who are not ruled by urgency. Calm patience suggests a man who can lead through stability rather than pressure. 7. The power of his words and his silence. Women notice not just what a man says, but how, when, and why he speaks. Older men who have developed wisdom understand that words carry weight. They do not speak to fill space. They speak with intention, and just as importantly, they know when silence is more powerful than speech. Stoicism teaches restraint of the tongue. A man who speaks excessively often reveals insecurity, nervousness, or a need for validation. Women sense this immediately. Excessive talking creates noise, not connection. Silence, when grounded, creates presence. A man who is comfortable with silence signals self-assurance. The Stoic man does not rush to respond. He listens fully. He allows others to finish their thoughts. This patience communicates respect and confidence. Women feel valued when they are truly heard, not interrupted or competed with. When he does speak, his words are clear and measured. He avoids exaggeration. He does not overshare. He does not complain unnecessarily. His communication reflects emotional control. Women trust men whose words align with their actions. Silence also plays a role during conflict. Instead of reacting impulsively, the mature man pauses. He does not escalate tension with sharp language. He chooses composure over winning an argument. This restraint signals emotional intelligence. A man who knows the power of silence does not use it as punishment. He uses it as reflection. Women can feel the difference. One is manipulative, the other is grounded. Words shape reality. Silence preserves dignity. A man who understands both carries quiet authority. Women notice this instinctively because it creates emotional safety and respect. 8. His comfort with solitude. One of the clearest signs of maturity in an older man is his comfort with being alone. Women notice when a man does not fear solitude. A man who is at ease with himself does not rely on constant company, distraction, or validation to feel whole. Stoicism teaches self-sufficiency. A man who can sit alone with his thoughts has developed inner strength. He does not escape himself through noise. He reflects, evaluates, and grows. Women sense this depth because it contrasts sharply with men who cannot tolerate silence or aloneness. Men who fear solitude often seek relationships for escape rather than connection. They rush intimacy. They cling. Women notice this dependency quickly, and it creates pressure. Independence, on the other hand, creates attraction. A man comfortable with solitude chooses companionship, not out of need, but out of desire. This choice changes the dynamic completely. Women feel this difference. They are not being used to fill a void. They are being invited into a full life. Solitude also sharpens judgment. It allows a man to process emotions privately instead of projecting them onto others. This emotional containment signals maturity. Women trust men who do not offload emotional chaos onto them. Comfort with solitude shows discipline. It reflects a man who can delay gratification and sit with discomfort. Stoicism values this capacity because it strengthens resilience. A man who enjoys his own company does not panic when alone. He does not chase attention. He is selective. Women are drawn to this selectiveness because it signals self-worth. Solitude builds depth, depth builds presence. And presence is something women feel immediately. 9. Emotional availability without weakness. Emotional availability is often misunderstood. It does not mean emotional exposure without restraint. Women notice men who can express emotion without being overwhelmed by it. Stoicism teaches balance, not suppression and not excess. An emotionally mature man acknowledges feelings without letting them control him. He can express concern, care, and empathy without losing composure. This balance is rare. Women value it deeply because it creates trust without instability. Men who confuse vulnerability with emotional dumping often overwhelm others. Women sense when a man lacks emotional regulation. It creates emotional labor rather than connection. Stoic emotional availability is different. It is steady, grounded, and respectful. The older Stoic man does not hide emotions out of fear. He simply chooses the right time, place, and tone. He does not weaponize emotions. He does not dramatize them. He communicates honestly and calmly. Women notice how a man responds to emotional moments. Does he listen without fixing immediately? Does he remain present without withdrawing? Emotional availability shows in attentiveness, not in constant expression. Strength and softness can coexist. Stoicism allows for compassion guided by reason. A man who understands this can offer emotional support without becoming emotionally dependent. This balance makes women feel secure. They know the man can connect emotionally without collapsing or becoming erratic. Emotional steadiness builds long-term trust. Emotional availability without weakness is one of the highest forms of masculine maturity. Women recognize it quickly because it feels rare, safe, and deeply grounding. 10. The final truth women sense instantly. The final thing women notice in older men is not something that can be rehearsed or displayed on command. It is congruence. The alignment between who a man says he is and who he actually is when no one is watching. Women sense this instinctively. Energy does not lie. Presence does not lie. Character always reveals itself. A man who has lived according to his values carries a quiet authority. His actions are consistent. His reactions are measured. His words match his behavior. There is no inner conflict leaking through his demeanor. Women feel this stability because it removes uncertainty. There is no need to guess who he will be tomorrow. Stoicism teaches that integrity is built through daily choices, not grand gestures. Older men who have practiced discipline over time no longer seek to impress. They are not fragmented. They are whole. Women recognize this wholeness immediately because it feels rare in a world full of performance. Men who lack inner alignment often feel restless. Their words contradict their actions. Their confidence fades under pressure. Women sense this mismatch quickly and instinctively withdraw. Inconsistency signals emotional risk. The Stoic man understands that reputation is what others think, but character is what you are. Women respond to character because it creates trust. Trust is the foundation of attraction that lasts. A man who has nothing to prove and nothing to hide carries a calm strength. That strength is felt instantly. This is the final truth women notice first. Finally, build the inner fortress. Attraction is not created by chasing attention. It is created by becoming solid within yourself. Older men who embody Stoic principles do not rely on tactics. They rely on character, discipline, and inner order. Everything discussed in this video comes down to one truth. Who you are internally shapes how the world responds to you externally. Women notice emotional control. They notice self-respect. They notice purpose, patience, silence, solitude, and emotional balance. But above all, they notice integrity. If you are becoming this man, you are already ahead. Not because of age, but because of awareness. Strength built slowly lasts longer than strength borrowed for appearances. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to this channel, The Inner Fortress. Like this video and share it with a man who is serious about building quiet power and lasting respect. This channel exists to help men develop clarity, discipline, and inner strength in a noisy world. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and remember, the strongest fortress is built within.